Hello, Excellence family. This is Kristina Suengas, Agent Concierge with Xcellence Mortgage and Title. I had the amazing opportunity to catch up with our new teammate, Barbie Harrison, over at Xcellence Mortgage. Good morning, Barbie. How are you today?
Hi, Christina. It's good to be here. I'm really well, thank you.
Well, we're so happy to be working with you. Your energy is contagious, and I want our agents to have the opportunity to get to know you as you are the engine that makes these mortgages run. So you assist our loan officers, and we couldn't do it without you. Would love to have an opportunity to learn a little bit more about you and your experience in the mortgage industry.
Thanks for asking. I've been doing this longer than I care to admit. I think a woman can never really reveal her age, but actually, the very first appraisal I ever worked on, the pictures were actually taped to the document, so that might tell you how long I've been doing this. My very first mortgage job, I actually was assisting my father in doing cold calling. He was a loan officer, and I really fell in love with the puzzle that is mortgage. The many different pieces that comprise a mortgage. It's kind of like you have to figure out and make sure they all fit together. And when things go wrong and then I'm able to fix it, like it's really satisfying. Um, I've done quite a bit of, you know, operations type roles. I've been in leadership. I've actually helped open a few mortgage companies. I have a really, really deep and wide experience, I would say, when it comes to mortgages. So I don't know. I have found that processing, I feel like, is my true passion, simply because you get to be the boots on the floor. You get to be face to face with the customer. You get to wrangle problems when they happen. You get that satisfactory feeling at the end when everything comes together and you have a successful closing.
Well, and we'd love to say that each one was smooth, but sometimes things do pop up with condo associations and permits and whatnot. So we do have the opportunity to work with you, and we love it because we just had one that we had to work through. And without your expertise and knowledge and your drive and commitment, we wouldn't have been able to do it. So I
Thank
wanted
you.
our agents to get that opportunity to meet you. And also wanted to ask you if you could recommend what would be three things that each buyer or borrower should have in place or taken care of up front so that we can just ensure a smooth transaction, easy closing, a great experience.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of mystery around what the documentation requirements are when it comes to providing assets and pay stubs and things like that. The minimum requirements of what actually makes a document work is very nuanced and it's very regulated. So it's important that when you are reading directions or speaking to your processor, that you're paying attention to the details, because the details do matter. Something that you may think is a completely acceptable bank statement may not meet all the requirements. So it's important that we all work together as a team, remain patient when the underwriter does have additional questions. I think it's also really important that they are set up with proper expectations with the way the loan is going to go. It's incredibly important that when documents are requested, that they're provided in a timely fashion, because there are so many different moving pieces. Just because we have a little bit of time doesn't necessarily mean that everything is going to happen exactly the way we anticipate it to happen. So the faster we can get things done, the faster we can get things cleared to close, the more likely we are to have a successful and smooth closing. And the final item that I would probably discuss is timing of the closing. It's incredibly important that your processor is aware. Do you have any travel plans? Is there a possibility of closing early? Are you expecting anything to come up that might potentially delay closing or anything like that? It's incredibly important that communication be very, very open and go both ways, right, between the client and the processor, so that any problems can be avoided and circumvented before they occur.
Absolutely. Is there one thing that we should steer away from or be sure we've done our homework on up front that you see is as a possible pitfall that can delay things that we could be, educating our buyer about?
I think there's two things, right? I think on the realtor side, it's really important, especially with HOAs, that we have accurate disclosures when it comes to the HOA. The faster I have contact information, the faster I can get on it and make sure that there's no issues with the association before the buyer spends a whole bunch of money on inspections and things like that. And then the second part, this goes to the client themselves. It's important that you don't move around a lot of money during the transaction. Don't take out new loans. Your financial profile needs to remain stagnant for the time that you're doing the loan. And if anything has to happen, it's important that you loop in your loan team to let them know, hey, this is what's going on. I need to move these assets around so that we can ask for the correct documentation and not delay the closing.
That is a huge point. We have seen many clients, even after our loan officer has discussed with them not to make any big changes. We've had them go out and buy furniture,
Yeah.
loans for family members, take out a new car for wife and spouse, all kinds of
Yeah.
things going on. And like you said, it's a snapshot in time that we're looking at. We need it to stay as simple as possible without expanding during the loan process.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think another thing too is turn times. Just because we get a document back from the client doesn't mean it's immediately looked at by underwriting, right? You get the information and then what happens from there?
That is correct. Well, you have to remember, Xcellence Mortgage is a busy company, right? I'm a busy girl. The second that you email me something, I give myself 24 hours to look at those documents. So not only do you have the turnaround time with the lender, you have the turnaround time here within Xcellence Mortgage. So if it takes me 24 hours to look at it, and then it could take the underwriter 24 to 48 hours to look at it, at minimum, we're looking at a 2-day turn time to look at documents. So when I speak to my clients, I ask them to please provide me with documents within 48 hours of request. That way we can avoid any delays.
I 100% agree. We don't want to leave anything to last minute.
Correct.
There could be that delay. And there's also the consideration of if your client has locked in their rate. We don't want to be running under the gun. We'd love to start up front, get the information, the key components, like you said, make sure that if something is asked, it's in the format that they're asking it for. As you mentioned, there's a certain criteria they're looking at. It has to be in that format. And I think that clear communication is always key.
Absolutely.
I would love to ask your take, now that you've been with us for a few months, what do you feel is different about Xcellence Mortgage?
Wow, I'm glad you asked that. Xcellence Mortgage has been, how can I explain this? The vision that Xcellence has is something that I think is really special. The way that they want the mortgage company to support the realtors and the title company to support the mortgage company. It's like this perfect triangle of team unity, and like you said, we did have a loan that went wrong. I shouldn't say it went wrong. We had a challenge that we needed to overcome. And when I voiced the challenge, the way that the leadership team reacted was absolutely impressive to me. They wanted to make sure that the client got everything they needed. They wanted to make sure that I felt supported. They wanted to make sure that the realtor and the loan officer involved in the transaction felt supported. I have never seen a team rally like I saw this team rally when something went sideways. And I think that's the true mettle of a team, is when something goes wrong, how do you react? How do you handle it? It's really easy to operate when everything goes well. But when something goes wrong, the way that leadership reacts, I think, is incredibly important. And I was very, very impressed with the way that went down.
Oh, I was part of it with you, and I have to agree 100%. I think the support we provide our agents and the unity between mortgage, title, and realty is unmatched. I mean, we have the communication. When we got something, we needed to run with it. Title was on it, mortgage was on it. We were running all of us to come to closing, and we were able to meet the closing date because of that unity. And I don't think in most places it happens, quite differently, where you have to wait and you call, you're on hold, you never talk to the same person twice.
Exactly.
We're here. We do care about our agents. We care about your client and the experience. And I do think a reputation can take a lifetime to build and just seconds to break. So we hold our reputation very, very carefully, as we know you've built a long time that reputation. So, and Barbie, is there anything else you would like our agents to know about how we operate on the processing side?
I think in our industry, sometimes there's this culture of the mortgage against the realtors. And I haven't felt that at all here. I really like the dynamic and the culture that's being promoted. And I would encourage the realtors to try using Xcellence Mortgage and give us a shot, because I really, really think that they will appreciate the support and the systems that we have in place to make sure that things go smoothly. And don't be afraid to just pick up the phone and call. We're available. We'd love to talk to you. We want to get to know you. We want to, really have a great team experience.
Absolutely. Well, we are so grateful to have the opportunity to work with you, Barbie. I appreciate your time. I know how busy you are, but we're always available for our agents. As a reminder, you could reach out directly by phone, 305-595-7355. It's the option for mortgage, or you can share with your client a link, xcellencemortgage.com/apply. And with that link, they can book a time on our mortgage loan officer's calendar, whether it be a consultation to just discuss options. If you're unsure, you want to know where your client would stand, or if your client is ready to apply, they can do that as well with that link, or they can schedule a time by Zoom. And lastly, they can apply online. If you have a do-it-yourselfer type client that they're confident and they're capable online, they're comfortable with technology, they can apply online, and we can start the pre-approval process for you. The idea is to make it easy for your client and for you, and for there to be a consistent, clear communication process throughout. We look forward to hearing from you. We wish everyone and their families a wonderful holiday season. Thank you, Barbie. Have a great week.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays. Take care.
Bye-bye.